All right, so check it out. I saw this in my feed. I looked into it. I saw the video. I do not speak Hebrew, so I can't confirm 100%. But if it's anybody out there that speaks Hebrew and gets a hold of this video, you can maybe confirm some of this stuff. But it's not like you can just find people that speak Hebrew all over the place. But all right, it's been translated by several sources here. All right, and when you look at the sources, when you look at the situation, when you look at what's going on, it's just not that hard. It's not hard to piece together. It's not. So, a popular Jewish singer, right, in Jerusalem, there was a concert in Jerusalem. He did his concert thing, and several Israeli officials attended the concert. And these are things he said, to a roaring and applauding crowd. By the way, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article here real quick. Footage has emerged of a popular Jewish singer using a racial slur against President Barack Obama at a concert in Jerusalem. I may butcher this name, but Mordechai Ben David, a 65-year-old Brooklynite from the Hasidic sect of Judaism, was performing a song about peace on December 29th when he launched an attack on the outgoing U.S. leader, calling him a quote-unquote kushi, a derogatory Hebrew term for a black person. I'm going to go ahead and quote the guy here. Do you know when there will be peace? In a few weeks, when there will be a new president in the United States and the kushi goes home, he said in Hebrew, according to the translation by the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, to a raucous applause from the crowd. Right, so the term kushi, although there's some debate about it, I think the consensus is that in ancient Hebrew, Kushis referred to Ethiopians and also black Africans, particularly those of Ethiopian origin. In modern Hebrew, however, it has been used as a derogatory term for black people and Africans, right? So, first of all, if there was a singer in the United States, all right, that said something along the lines of, when we will have peace, until some of these Jewish lobbyists are no longer influencing our White House and our elected officials, and Israel has to abide by international law. If that were to happen, that singer will be labeled an anti-Semite by the mainstream media that many of you hate, right? By alternative media, especially right-wing alternative media, like Infowars, something like that. Although the alt-right is kind of they have a little bit of their own issue there. I think the singer doesn't understand that there's members in Donald Trump's cabinet that don't like Jews, but maybe he doesn't know that. I have no idea, right? I don't know, but apparently he has a perception that Donald Trump is going to bring peace, and when you have officials in Israel saying the United States needs to build an embassy in Jerusalem, right? The United States needs to create an embassy where we tell them to create an embassy. Why? Because, once they create an embassy in Jerusalem, they're stuck in the middle of everything, right? Now, look, man, this isn't cool, right? And I haven't even addressed the racial dynamic behind this. I haven't even addressed that. This guy, right, allegedly here, from what I understand, Okay. Now, I don't speak Hebrew, so again, but is the intent being, is he saying something derogatory to the President of the United States simply because the President of the United States, is not, siding 100% with them right now over creating new settlements in Palestinian territory? I mean, this is like you know, a baby crying for its fucking bottle here. And they feel very emboldened by the fact that another president is going to come in. Now, I don't know if they know this or not, but there's elections every 4 years. And that's number one, right? But a new president is coming in, and they feel like, yeah, this guy, he's going to bring, Donald Trump is going to create an embassy in Jerusalem to solidify it as the land of the Jews, and that's it. And fuck the Palestinians and whatever they think. And that's going to quote unquote bring peace. If their idea of peace is literally exterminating, all Palestinian land, that's, I don't know if they know this or not, but that's, that's basically an equivalent of a Holocaust if they were to do that. Because what are you going to do with all these Palestinians? What are you going to do? And for those that think, nah, come on, it's bullshit, they're never going to do anything to the Palestinians. The Palestinians are over exaggerating. Oh, really? Well, have somebody bulldoze over your house against your will, leave you homeless, right? And then, and you just keep being driven back and back and back. And you have less and less acres of land every day, right? I mean, eventually, what's going to happen? If you look at a map of the 1960s and compare it to a map of today, it's astonishing the amount of land that's been taken away from the Palestinians. There's two sides to every story, and there's a lot of nuance. And if there ever was a topic that has a shitload of nuance, right, it's this one, right? Because there's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blaming to go on. But in this specific instance, I mean, forget about this singer. I mean, who the fuck is he, right? Whatever. Apparently he's a popular Jewish singer and he's popular in Israel, right? He said what he said, whatever, right? But this idea that, Obama just been against us this whole time, really? I mean, keep in mind that Obama never stopped funding Israel, just gave them $38 billion of our taxpayer money, all right? Just to keep that in mind. Obama also hooked them up with the Iron Dome. You know how many nations have the technology of the Iron Dome? Well, Israel is one of the few. And that shit intercepts missiles, right? And it has saved many lives in Israel. Are they thankful for that? No, they're not. Now, again, I'm not going to paint with a broad brush because there are movements in Israel itself, right, that don't like the current administration, that do want real peace in the Middle East. They want peace with the Palestinians. They want a Palestinian state. But right now, those in power and those emboldened right now, I mean, what they think is happening is, Donald Trump is going to come in, let us do whatever we want, right? Donald Trump's going to create an embassy right smack, right there in an embassy in Israel, but in Jerusalem, not Tel Aviv. That's not good enough. It has to be in Jerusalem. One wonders, well, why there? Because a lot of that is disputed land. But if we were to create an embassy there, it would be a slap in the face to the Palestinians. It would be sending a message that this land belongs to Israel. We're here to protect it for them. That's what that means. That's exactly what that means. A lot of what's going on here is some fucked up shit, right? You know, makes you wonder though, because do the people of Israel understand, or do they not understand, that in all reality, without the protection of the United States and the Western world, they wouldn't even be there. They wouldn't, right? Meaning, the way they say Obama was hostile towards them, if that was true, if it was true that Obama was against them the whole time, you don't think, you really believe that if Obama was really hostile towards them, that they would still be around? Why would he go out of his way to do the Iron Dome for them? Why would he hook them up with that? Why would he give them $38 billion? Because when you ask the question, how does that benefit us? It really doesn't benefit us. It doesn't do anything for you or me or anybody in the United States. It doesn't do anything. We're doing it to be nice. That's why we're doing it. We're doing it because we feel Israel needs to protect itself from its enemies. But it doesn't benefit us. If anything, our friendship with Israel is causing more problems, okay, for us, right, than it's anything else. Almost every terrorist attack that occurs, they cite, all right, the illegal settlements of Israel. Almost every single one, right? And when we're talking about, the jihadists, when they do any type of attack, that's why they, whenever you hear like people say, "Oh yeah, these terrorists are against our freedoms," and you're looking at it from one perspective. You're not looking at it from reality, right? They feel they're in the good side and we're evil. I mean, that's that's how they see it. Now, and people keep asking, well, what can we do? What can we do? I mean, every time we try to give these Palestinians a shot, they go off and they elect a group like Hamas to run shit over there. Right there in the Gaza Strip. That's, I do scratch my head and wonder why they would have somebody like Hamas run shit when they know what Hamas is going to do. Right? I understand that. But then you have to ask yourself, how hopeless do they feel? And do they feel like, they're going to be exterminated anyway? So how do they want to go out? Do they want to go out begging not to be killed, or do they want to fight back? Well, that's not what's happening. I'm not talking about what's happening or not happening. I'm asking about how do they feel. I mean, you can't don't tell me about who cares how they feel. You can't pass universal health care in this country without people saying that, it's slavery. It feels like slavery. You can't even do that. You want to lecture Palestinians about how they should feel about having absolutely no control over their land. Come on. Let me know. How should they feel? Now, what's going to happen here? First of all, there's almost no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump is going to, at some point, he's going to have to make a calculated move with Israel, right? Meaning, look at the expectations of Israel. He's going to create an embassy in Jerusalem. He's going to hook up, Israel even more. He's going to be a threat to Israel. He's not going to recognize Palestine as a state. He's going to be a friend 100% of Israel. And then you have, those fundamentalist Christians that voted heavily for Donald Trump. Okay? The born-again Christians and the evangelicals, those kinds that really are strong in the red states and really win states for Republicans all the time. Over issues like Israel and abortion. That's really what wins them elections. And there's a lot of expectations on that side. The 700 Club side. That side has high expectations. As does the Prime Minister of Israel, as do, lobbyists from, Jewish lobbyists and stuff like that. They have high expectations for Donald Trump to hook them up. I mean, if $38 billion in an Iron Dome and us, guaranteeing them safety from any type of invasion, right? If that's not enough, if that's treating them bad, right? If that's not enough and that's treating them horrible, I mean, what are they expecting exactly? What more are they expecting? Well, maybe because when Obama said, when the Obama administration said for the next couple of years, I forgot how many years, but we're going to give Israel $38 billion with a B, right? And the Republicans came out and said that's not enough. We got to give them more. Come on, Israel's our ally. What's it, just because they're our ally, we got to give them more? We're giving them protection. We're hooking them up militarily. What else do they want? Like, what else should we do for them? Like, bow down to our knees and say, what do you want, your highness? Well, what the fuck are we supposed to do? So maybe more taxpayer money, right, for Israel, which is the opposite of what Donald Trump said we should do. If there's one thing that I heard Donald Trump say, there's a couple, but one of the things he said in the campaign trail that I say, you know what, this fucker, he's a fucking maniac. It's crazy, but he's right about this. It's about, cutting a lot of foreign aid money. It's just throwing away that money. And it always gets on my nerves. People are like, in the mainstream media, like, foreign aid, foreign aid is only about, 1 or 2% of taxpayer money. That's 1 or 2% of our money. Yeah, exactly. They're shitting me. So, yeah, it happens to be 1% or whatever our money, right? But we have other shit to pay for. Okay, it's not like we have 100% just lying around. You kidding me? The 1% here and the 1% there, another percent here, it adds up. But anyway, that's besides the point. Besides the point. I mean, people make a big deal about giving poor families, government assistance. All right, nobody blinks an eyelash when we're just giving $38 billion to Israel. Nobody blinks a fucking eyelash, right? $1 billion every year to fucking countries like Pakistan for what? Why do we give them this money? It's just stupid. We got Flint with fucking poisoned water, and we're giving Israel $38 billion. No, we don't got money for Flint. We're broke. We don't got money. That's what Congress says. We don't got money. We don't have the money for it. Sorry. We don't got it. You need how much? No, we don't have the money. But we got to give more money to Israel. Are you fucking shitting me? Nobody sees what's wrong with this picture. Furthermore, because my point was, because I'm digressing, but my point is, there's that crowd that has high expectations for Donald Trump. Yet there's another crowd in the alt-right that are very anti-Jewish. Hell, one of his cabinet members said he doesn't want his children to go to school with Jews. All right? And this is an actual quote. And guys like David Duke came out and defended him, right? Oh yeah, well, when Jews have Jews-only schools, that's okay. But when a white guy says, "I don't want my kids to go to school with Jewish," that's discrimination. That's what David Duke said, right? But then we have to go through this whole conversation, and it needs to be explained to people like little children, all right? That what type of society we live in, who's the majority in the country, and stuff like that. But we're not going to go through that, right? But I get it, all right? He needs to appease those people too. The ones that think that a lot of these alt-right, right-wing websites that promote the idea of globalism by the Zionists over there and the UN/Israel, and they're controlling everything and blah, 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 blah. And the David Dukes was a big Donald Trump supporter that hates Israel. And like the one thing David Duke is right about is Israel, by the way. Right? That's the one thing he's right about. And he talks about what they're doing to the Palestinians, how they're treating the Palestinians. And that crowd, Donald Trump has to appease them too. Now, there's many a footage of Donald Trump supporters throwing up Nazi signs at his rallies, by the way, chanting USA, right, by yelling anti-Semitic things to members of the media who happen to be Jewish, and stuff like that. All right, so he is somewhat between a rock and a hard place right now, Donald Trump. And he's going to have to do one or two things. He's going to have to, basically decide he's going to have to let go of one of those sides, and they're going to hate him or whatever, but maybe he's going to have to decide which group is fringe enough to let go, or he's going to have to just find a way to really do nothing but get credit just because like, again, and it won't really take much, right? Like, all he has to do is announce every year when he's giving money to Israel, right? And if it's just, well, maybe that won't work, but let me put it this way. When Obama gave Israel the Iron Dome, nobody in the right even mentioned it, right? But if it was Donald Trump that did that, boy, would they be yelling, "Oh yeah, that's how you defend Israel. That's how you do it. That's how a real man does it," right? So we'll see how he pulls it off. We will. You know what's funny is that, and I believe anyway, Barack Obama learned this the hard way. I really do. Is that whenever you try hard to appease people that don't like you, it always backfires. It always blows up in your face. Always, right? It almost never fails. Almost never. Almost never. To see the Prime Minister of Israel right now basically be emboldened by the fact that a new president is coming in a couple days, and just simply ignore whatever our current president is telling them, it's almost astonishing. I mean, it's an astonishing sight. And not only is he ignoring what we're saying, I mean, he's ignoring a lot of the other Western countries, right? And what they're saying, right? Now, for those that don't know, the only reason Israel as we know it today exists is because of the British, right? After World War I, they decided, they wanted to give the Jews like their own state. That's basically when Zionism started. Okay, and it's the idea of a nationalist state for Israel. That's what it is. A UN resolution was passed somewhere in the 60s that dictated, okay, this is going to be the land, because the Middle East has always been complicated. Since the days of the Romans, even before that, it was complicated, right? It's always been infested with war and conflict, different religions, different ethnic groups, the whole nine. The UN resolution basically decided we're going to give these parts of the land to the Jews and other parts of the land to the quote unquote Palestinians. And it was just inevitable that conflict was going to happen. What's been so for those that say, oh, that's rightfully the land of the Jews, well, you obviously don't know your history if you're just saying that, right? So if we go by international law, which it's up to you if you want to go by that or not. Not everybody subscribes to that, but you do need to acknowledge that the international law that is telling Israel right now, hey, you can't take those lands. That's illegal. Those are illegal settlements, right? That the same UN that's telling them that is the same UN that is responsible for their existence in the first place. They wouldn't exist without the UN. If the UN never said, okay, because the British basically said, look, we're not going to deal with this fucking issue. We're going to give it to the UN to deal with, right? And the UN made the Jewish state possible. So if you don't know that, then obviously you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And the reality is, let's say that's bad enough. Let's say they would have left it at that. The reality is, all right, Israel has been taking more and more land every day. Now I know what they say, right? I know what's said, and well, look, a lot of this was because there was a lot of hostility towards Israel because they're Jewish, right? And they had to defend themselves. Therefore, they started taking more land, right, as a result of wars, right? Now that's true, all right, that's true. But never have the Palestinians, okay? Because look, somehow peace with Israel and Egypt was done. They found a way to do that. They haven't been at war with any other Arabic state for years now. But for some reason, we can't find a way to get peace with the Palestinians and the Israelis. For some reason, that can't happen. And when you look at the situation, it's basically a cause and effect, right? So we're not looking at the cause of the issue. We're just looking at the effect. That's all the media here in the U.S. I can't speak for the media in Europe or the U.K. because I don't live there, right? But in the U.S. on mainstream media, okay, all that gets talked about is the effect. Oh, look, Hamas, they launched more missiles into Jerusalem, right? Well, not Jerusalem, but you know what I mean, into Israel. And that gets reported. Now, most of those are intercepted, thanks to technology by who? By the United States of America, right? Technology like the Iron Dome that Obama just, the evil Obama just gave to them. And when you look at the death count, now one death is too many, I get that, but when you look at the death count, it's not even close. Who's getting killed more by these conflicts? But that's all. It's just the effect. Oh, look, Hamas launched some rockets over there. Now Israel has to retaliate. So what's followed? A bombardment, right, of attacks. Buildings getting crushed, destroyed. People getting killed. Infants rotting in the streets, dead. Just to show them a lesson. And it's problematic. All right? And that's all that gets reported now. Do they ever ask, well, why did Hamas do that? Why did they launch the missiles? Is it because a couple days or weeks ago, they started destroying more Palestinian territory to start creating more settlements? Maybe it's that. What I find funny is we get it when it's our turf, right? Like if I were to tell you, man, if somebody came into your home and just stormed into your house and just kicked you out of your house and it destroyed your home in front of your eyes. There's nothing you could do, just because they're going to create a settlement there for somebody else to live there, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to live with it. That's it. No compensation, nothing. That's it. You're done. Get out of here, right? Then at that point you'd get it. But for some reason, the media has dehumanized Palestinians. People don't see Palestinians as people. They see them as some terrorist state. Like everybody there is just has their mouth covered and and wearing all black and holding flags saying death to Israel. Like that's how they picture the Palestinians. It's not shocking to see why this is happening. It's not just a religious thing. It's not just a Muslim Jewish thing. It's not what it is. And you can't criticize Israel without one way or another being told you're anti-Jewish or anti-Semite when this has nothing to do with your ordinary Jew. This is the Israeli state. That's what this is. So we'll see how a lot of this shit plays out. We will. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know if in our lifetime, we'll see peace in that region. I doubt it. It's looking grim, right? And for those that say, well, how does that, I don't care about that. It doesn't matter to me, right? Well, everything comes full circle, right? Us backing up Israel means just by the nature of things, we're going to have enemies because Israel is perceived a certain way by other parts of the world, and part of our taxpayer money is going over to Israel, right? So we have to, put those things in perspective, right? But that's all I really got to say now about this, right? I'm kind of surprised that because what's funny. Let me say one more thing. So how like the officials in Israel act like Obama is just terrible to them, and people that don't like Obama like just act like he's just terrible to Israel. And, he's just not a good friend to them. He's so hostile towards them, and this, that, and the third, right? I mean, he didn't bend over and kiss her ass, but if that's what you mean by being good to Israel, then that's another story, right? But but if you were to ask groups like Al Qaeda and ISIS and those groups, right? They fucking hate Obama, right? I mean, you think they would all be on the same page. You think they would love Obama, right? Oh yeah, Obama. Oh yeah, he's totally, being so mean to Israel. We love this guy. No, they don't like him. They don't like him at all, right? They don't like him whatsoever, actually. Now, a lot of these terrorist groups, they happen to like Trump. That's another topic, right? When they see Trump, I mean, they see a lot of recruits. That's what they say. That's exactly what they say. Okay? And they see someone who's going to do exactly, what they want him to do. Yeah. They want innocent people getting killed. They want massive bombings. Right? That's what they want, right? They want a tough guy that's going to come in and just blow a lot of shit up. That's what they want. That's exactly what they want. Just wait and see. But anyway, well, that's it. I'm out.